Hello and welcome to Fashion Report Friday, the weekly video series trying to get you the most MGP from the Gold Saucer every week on a Friday when judging begins for the Fashion Report minigame. This is week 303 and the theme is the Coeurl's Guard. The clues include Off to War for our helm, Leaping Leopards for our chest, Tippity R hat for our feet, and the cloth I bear for the right ring slot. In this video we have a 100 score, an 80 with dies, and the easiest 80 we could come up with outside of that. I will say though the dies are pretty much the easiest option this week. For a 100 score then, I personally went for the Adamantite Helm of Fending. This is something you can craft with Armourer fairly basically, or you can get this from an NPC, namely Norlays in the Pillars of Ishgard in the Jeweled Grosier for just over 25,000 gil, which is probably the best option. Alternatives include the Field Commander's Helm from the Between a Rock and a Hard Place achievement that you can get back from a Calamity Salvager if you've already got this before and misplaced it for 10,000 gil. The Sharlayan Custodian's Helm, which is from the Great Google Library Normal Mode dungeon, or the Ishgardian Knight's Helm from the Dusk Vigil dungeon. I do believe the Adamantite Helm of Fending still remains the best option as it is vendor purchased. For the chest piece then, I went for the Militia Harness. This is something once again that's craftable, this time with Leather Worker, fairly basic, and of course this is market tradable, so you might be able to find it cheaper than the actual crafting. Another alternative that should be fairly straightforward for the actual clue here is a Spotted Spencer. However, the various restrictions on monster killing to actually obtain enough of the Coeurl Regina horns, 6 of them to actually exchange in Idleshire for this, might restrict you if you don't already have this as an option. Another great option, and the final one I have, is the Sentinel's Cuirass. This is a chess piece that can be sold on the market board, but originally drops inside the Desmiel Darkhold dungeon, a low-level dungeon and easily accessible. Moving on to the feat then, if this can be any Arhat Kayahan, I think I've probably pronounced that wrong, any Arhat Kayahan of fending, maiming, no matter what it is, whatever role you can get, these all drop in the Alamigo, Kugane Castle and the Temple of the Fist dungeons in Stormblood content. Any of those will work, but of course if you're going for a 100 you might be restricted to a more Disciple of War focus, so I went for the fending ones. For the right ring slot, making sure not to confuse the two ring slots, the right ring slot, I personally went for the Scintillant Ring of Fending. This is something you can get from Goldsmith recipes or the market board. It's not too difficult to craft this, which is why I've recommended it. You can go for any Scintillant Ring, so Scintillant Ring of insert name here. Any of those will work, but of course, go for whichever one might be cheapest for you to obtain off the market board if you're not crafting it, and whichever you fancy crafting if you are. Another great alternative is the Sigmascape Normal and Savage rings, the Carborundum or Diamond rings, of course from Sigmascape. And of course we've got the Palladium Band, another craft from Goldsmith, but a higher level one, probably costing slightly more and probably cost more on the market board as well. And that's the 100 score. Not too bad, but a bit Disciple of War heavy. Moving on to an 80 with dies then. Any weapon in the game, salmon pink. Any chest, any helm, and any feet in the game, soot black die. Any gloves in the game, vanilla yellow. And any legs in the game, loam brown die. If you have something equipped in every slot and those dies on your left side, you will get an 80 score guaranteed. Very nice. The only thing that sets that back is the vanilla yellow from the Skybuilder scripts for 100 of those, but again, maybe they're cheaper on the market board than I realize. And moving on to the easiest 80 then, it goes without saying that any 2 items from that 100 that you pick and choose, as long as you have something equipped in every other slot, aside from the 2 items you choose, you will get an 80 score guaranteed. So for example, if you have the Adamantite Helm of Fending and the Militia Harness on, and then just any other stuff in every slot, you'll get an 80 score. If you, for example, went for the Scintillant Ring, which is fairly accessible, and then maybe some Ihat Kayahan of whatever, that would work. But another good option would be to use some of those dies, combining something like the Militia Harness with the Soot Black die. That's a good option as well. So Soot Black die on the militia harness, and then soot black dye on, say, any feat in the game, with something equipped in every slot will get you an 80 score. Pretty easy this week, not too bad. There's lots of good options there that will suit both free trial players as well as people who may be low level and people at endgame as well. So much love. Enjoy the rest of your day. Enjoy your weekend. A link in the description will take you to the Reddit thread where this is theorized each and every week. Thank you so much, and I'll see you all next time. Bye-bye.